I regret to inform you that you have been misled. This car is in fact not 5 years old, but that's not going to stop me from making a 5-year update review of it. Roll the intro. This is a 2018 Hyundai Elantra, and in fact, it's I guess it isn't mine. It actually belongs to my mother. We've had this car since summer of 2018, and I think it's about time I did a date review of it. What's gone wrong with the car, and how good it's been for the almost 5 years that we've had it. The odometer is reading 93,624 miles. I've purposely not cleaned the car because I wanted you guys to see it in the way that it normally is seen. But yeah, so like I said, this is a 2018 Hyundai Elantra in I don't know exactly what the color is, but it's silver, and it's a value edition, which means you get stuff like heated seats, but it still has things like manual seats and cloth seats. So this is kind of like you get the best of both worlds. We paid $18,000 for this car out the door, and that is stupidly cheap nowadays. Can't get cars for that price anymore. Even like a base model Honda Civic with less features than this still starts at $25,000. We got a really good deal on this. As far as things have gone wrong with it, this windshield is not factory. This has been replaced because I got mad because my phone wasn't getting cell reception and I threw my phone at the windshield and broke it. This is a common issue with Hyundai products. The paint is fairly thin, and as you can see, the paint on this section of the hood has started to peel off. And for the car being not even 5 years old, that's not what you want to happen for a car that's only 4.5 years old. So I think Hyundai has improved on their paint quality a little bit, but yeah, that's not ideal. This sunroof has also been replaced because when my mom was driving down the road one day, it just randomly decided to explode, which is also another issue of Hyundais of this era. So I think they fixed the sunroofs now, but I don't think you want your sunroof exploding on when you're driving down the highway. And there was glass all over, and even when you go over bumps, you can still hear glass inside of this metal roof rattling around, which sucks. There is a massive scrape in the bumper, and it's down to the bare plastic. This is from my mom running into a wheelbarrow when backing out of our driveway. It was covering, I think, a drainage spout at the top of our driveway, or at the bottom of our driveway. And she cut the corner a little too close and scraped some of the paint off. Not a huge deal, but kind of sucks. These two doors have also been replaced because when my dad borrowed the car to go to I don't remember. I think he went to a job and took this because it gets better gas mileage. A guy with a salt truck with a salt dispenser on the back ran into this door and bent the door so much that you couldn't actually close this rear door without lifting it up and shoving it into place. So these both of these door panels were replaced under insurance. It's nice that we didn't have to pay for that, but this car, if you probably looked it up on Carfax, it probably has said it was been in a wreck. Even though it wasn't really a wreck, it was just a minor fender bender, or door bender, because it wasn't really the fender, was it? This is a dent from someone opening the door into our car in a parking lot. Not our fault, but it's still kind of annoying that it's dented. Now this is something that has broken, but we never actually got fixed. These seats are 6-way manual adjustable seats on both sides, which is quite nice for being manual seats. This is the backrest recline. But you can probably notice that the seat up and down adjustment has fallen off. How does that even happen? I don't know, but it did. But now the seat is just stuck at the height that it is. So if you get taller, then screw you. The last thing that has been replaced, as far as I know, is this trunk latch. Ignore how dirty it is. This latch just stopped working. I don't know why, but it just did. So we had to get that replaced. Were sold to us by Vandergrift Hyundai. There's their phone number if you want to call them. Now, since that is a dealership in Texas, the tires were filled with nitrogen. And see, here's the thing. Nitrogen is hard to find to put in tires, and it kind of helps to keep the tires to last longer because they don't get as hot. But this car had a partial life in Texas. Then it spent a few months in Illinois. Now it's back here in Texas, and it was actually registered in Illinois for a while. So this car has been quite a few places. And yeah, that's kind of annoying because, well, the tires are just filled with normal air now. There's no nitrogen in them. So that's the majority of things that have gone wrong with the car that we've had to either adapt to or get fixed. There's some other small things, like tires. We had to replace them a few times, but that's just normal car maintenance. The oil changes, we did it every 5,000 miles, actually a little over. This is actually overdue by, I think, 1,500 miles right now, so my mom actually needs to go get it changed. So, the 2018 Hyundai Elantra came standard with a 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder engine, 147 horsepower, and it's made it to a 6-speed automatic, which is, I think they still use this engine, but they use a CVT transmission now. But the 6-speed auto is actually pretty fantastic. Shifts smooth, and it's actually way better than a CVT. This is one of the reasons why I had picked this over like a Nissan Sentra of the day. The transmission's a lot more reliable. One thing about this engine though, there's 2 things. One, it's a little too underpowered for my mom. 0 to 60 I'd say is around 9.5 seconds, realistically. We're gonna do a 0 to 60 to show the 147 horsepower that this thing has. Let's to the wood. And you hear that like mechanical like, you could probably get it down to high 8s if you're really pushing it, but it's not the most powerful thing in the world. But it does get great gas mileage. The other thing is that when under acceleration, this makes a weird like mechanical sound. I don't know. I'll put a clip right here. You hear that like that I'll go record later of that sound going into action. It's a little strange. And it seems to be a common thing with these Elantras, especially this model year, or this generation. They make that weird sound under acceleration. I don't know why, but it's done that from the day we've gotten it. This battery has been replaced. We went to O'Reilly's and got it replaced a few months ago. Or actually, I think it was about a year ago now. Because batteries age and it just ran out after a while. As you can see, it's very dusty because Texas is a thing. But overall, the powertrain is pretty decent. This is the base engine. They actually had an upgrade, which was a 1.6-liter turbocharged engine, which you could get with the 6-speed dual clutch that's in this car, or a 6-speed manual, which was pretty cool, but not anymore. So this is the base engine, pretty decent, but a little slow and a little noisy. In a car like this, are you really gonna rev it out like that? But yeah, I'm gonna go in and show you the gas mileage screen on the gauge cluster in the car. So it says the key isn't in the vehicle because I have it on me, but you have this little screen and you can flip through. The average miles per gallon is 34.5 currently, and that's pretty consistent over what we've gotten over the lifetime of the car. You can see we're at about 1/8 of a tank and we still have 41 miles of range left. So it gets pretty fantastic range. As you can see, 93,624 miles on the odometer. Now, the Value Edition gets you things like dual zone climate control, heated seats, gets you this nicer mirror up here, this bigger touchscreen, which worked okay for the day and has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and it still holds up pretty well. It's not the fastest, but it was decent enough in 2018. The glove box is fairly spacious. These are not the default seats. These are seat covers. Handbrake is fun, so you can do handbrake turns in a parking lot. This does have blind spot detection, and you can turn the traction control off right here, which is useful. You have your auto up or auto down driver's side window, not auto up though. You can lock the windows, but interestingly, it locks the windows out of the driver too, not just the passengers. So that's strange. This car actually kind of got the lazy treatment with its vanity light. It's independent of the actual mirror. It's up here, which is still a thing on Hyundais. But what's the most annoying thing about these visors is that they don't slide at all. They actually have this little extension thing, which still lets a lot of light through if you put it on the side. So I actually think Hyundai still does that, and I think they shouldn't. They should make it slide. At least on the Elantra, I know they do. Here is your gear selector for the 6-speed automatic, and you can do the shifting by yourself. There's the backup camera, has parking lines that turn with the wheel. It's actually pretty good for a 2018 economy car. It's not too bad. In here, this is the center console. It's got some stuff in it, but it's pretty big. One thing the Koreans seemingly do very well is give you nice, strong AC, which my dad's $93,000 truck in total barely blows. But nice that Hyundai puts thought into things. You do have normal, eco, and sport modes. They just changed the transmission shift mapping. Here's your center screen a little more in depth. You can click menu. You have Pandora, actually, I think. What does this do? Yeah, connect to your mobile device. But you have a phone menu. It's not the fastest thing. Sirius XM, you can click the setup thing, choose your display settings. It's an older Hyundai system. It's not too bad for 2018 standards. It's actually pretty decent, to be honest. It's probably better than whatever Nissan and GM had around this time. It has a quick guide. That's kind of neat. You can tell you things about how to use it. So, pretty simple screen. Has Sirius XM, AM, FM radio. You have nice shortcuts to everything. Track buttons, radio, media, phone. Press all the buttons. They work very well. The thing that's nice about the older cars is that they don't have auto start stop. Never shut off when you're at a stoplight, which is stupid annoying. It has cruise control. No, it's not adaptive, but it does have regular cruise control. The thing that's nice about the Elantra is that you can have up to 40 presets. 40 presets. Like, who needs that many presets? But if you want to have that many presets, you can. And of course, you have Apple CarPlay and stuff like that. Like here, it works very well, actually. You have maps. It runs fairly decently. You have your messages. I have PlugShare installed. I don't know why, because I'm an EV fanatic, even though this is not an EV. And the stereo is actually pretty decent for being a base model system with no like subwoofer. Has 45 levels of volume. And you can actually adjust like where the sound is in the car, and you can adjust the bass. Yeah, pretty decent sound system for not being a Bose or upgraded sound system. It's just, Hyundai does really good with base model, I should probably stop yelling. Hyundai does really good with base model stereo systems in their cars, so that's good. Of course, it has Bluetooth, so I think it actually might do wireless Apple CarPlay, but I could be wrong on that. But I know it does have Bluetooth. One thing that's nice about the Value Edition and Up trims is that when you lock it, you get a much more pleasant beep than what you get on the cheaper Elantras, which just sounds like a frickin' Prius honking at you at a stoplight when you forget to put your car in drive and go. At least it gives you this nice beep rather than honking a pipsqueak horn at you. But the alarm sounds terrible. I don't know why. Like, it has a decent, like, sounding horn. Like, listen to the horn. Like, it sounds decent, the horn, but I don't know why the alarm is so terrible. You can open the trunk from the key fob, and it pops, but it doesn't open all the way because it's not actually a power trunk. It just pops it so you can open it. So while the car itself isn't the biggest, the trunk is actually fairly spacious. If I move some stuff out of the way, I could easily fit in here with no problems at all. Oh, but getting out might be a struggle. One really nice thing about this car is that the seats release from the trunk. So if you have something long that you want to stick in, you can lower the seats from the trunk without having to go inside and lower the seats. This is very useful because I have a very big instrument, and whenever I take it home from school, we only have about 20 seconds to get in the car and go, and this makes it so much easier to put it in the back. You just do have like full incandescent brake lights, turn signals, and reverse lights. Nothing super spectacular, but then again, at the price point of 18 grand, you can't really expect much. Actually, this car retail, I think, was 22 or 23,000, but we talked them down quite a bit. After changing the tires several times, it's still running the original Control Contact Eco Plus tires. It's a 205/55 R16. Pretty basic tire. No nitrogen in them anymore, just normal air. What's annoying is that every time you leave the car with your key, it beeps. But this is the back seat room. But to get in, still, I mean, I'm like 5'11", about. You do have some cup holders here, which is actually really nice because there is no central armrest here. But these seats are okay in terms of comfort. They're pretty soft, but they're not the best. But the room isn't too bad for a car of its size. One thing that is notable about this particular car is that the rear suspension is exceedingly worn. It actually is very bouncy on the highway, and I don't know if that's a thing with just this car or if all like 2018 Elantras are like this. But this car is really bouncy, especially when you have 5 people in it. Here is the access for your, I believe, 12.4 gallon tank, which you can get well over 400 miles of range on it. Pretty amazing, the gas mileage. There is these cool DRL lights, which actually turn off when you put the handbrake on, which is pretty interesting. There is your projector-style halogen headlights, though. Not LEDs, but I guess in 2018 you can't really expect LEDs at this price point. It just sounds very diesel-like when you're idling. And I don't know why, because it is a gas car that runs on normal 87 gas mileage. But let's just cut to some driving shots with my mom. So Mom, how have you found this car for the past 4.5 years that you've had it?
For the money I paid, it's been very sufficient.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And whistles, but you know, it goes from point A to point B, and it was a cheap price.
You said you liked the Chevy Traverse, and if you were going to get a new vehicle, you'd probably replace it with that. But that doesn't get the greatest gas mileage, but it is an SUV. How do you think of the ride quality? I find it to be a little bumpy.
Well, it definitely needs new shocks.
Yeah, they've seemed to have worn very quickly.
Well, it's good. It has almost 100,000 miles on it now.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have worn that much, unless if that's just how they are.
And you and your dad have drove this car, and you guys drive erratically.
Yeah, we do. Or my dad does. Insert a clip of us doing a handbrake turn in a parking lot with the e-brake. By burnout mode. So, would you have, if you were to buy this car again, would you have done it differently? You think you'd get the same trim specification and everything?
Probably so.
I think so. Just Hyundai is like the great value of car brands, I think. What do you think has been the feature that you've used the most?
The heated seats, probably.
Yeah.
The satellite radio.
Yeah, satellite radio is nice. And I find the radio to actually be, like the stereo system to not be like horrendous like a lot of cheap vehicles are. Do you find the highway, like, how good of this would, how do I phrase this? How good of a road trip vehicle do you think this is?
Depends how many people are in the vehicle. If it's just 1 or 2, it's a great road trip vehicle. Any more, it's a little...
Yeah, the sunroof.
Just exploded one day when I was driving. Didn't even have it open. I never used the sunroof, and I had dropped you guys off at school, and I was coming back home, and all of a sudden I heard this big explosion. And got home and looked, and it was the sunroof.
Nice thing about a car like this is that you shouldn't really have to do this all that often. Gas still isn't cheap, but at least you can use the cheapest kind. F-150 Lightning. That's nice. 11.326 gallons, and it was already at an 1/8 of a tank, so it's about a 12-gallon tank. $34, not too bad, and you get like at least 430 miles with decent driving in that. So yeah, that is a 5-year review of the 2018 Hyundai Elantra. It's been totally reliable. Powertrain's had no issues, but there has been some other flaws that have appeared, like the sunroof, the seat lever, the windshield, which was my fault, the door, which was not my fault, but somebody else's fault. But overall, the car still runs good, and it'll probably last at least another 50,000 minimum. These Hyundais are known to at least go for at least 160 before they have major issues, which for like a car like this, you'll probably that'll probably take you like 7 or 8 years to do. So this car has sort of gotten a little small for our family because I've gotten taller, my sister's gotten a little taller. So we're looking at something bigger. We're trying to look into a Chevy Traverse. This car will probably be a backup, and it'll probably be my first car. When we're probably gonna keep this thing, and it'll be a hand-me-down until I can buy something myself. But yeah, that is a 5-year review of the 2018 Hyundai Elantra. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Leave a like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye!